So in this particular topic, we are going to discuss about what do you mean by automotive tires and what are the different things which are related to automotive tires. See, all of us are aware that the tires are the important part of the vehicle, because if you drive the vehicle without tire, it is not possible. Okay, what is going to happen by driving the vehicle without the tire, that everyone knows. So let me also share you the technical information as far as the tires are concerned. The tires are the most difficult part in the automobile to analyze for the stresses deformation, because tire is an hyperelastic material. So hyperelastic materials are those for which the stress strain curve is not linear. Okay, so that I will tell you as we progress in the as we discuss the tires. So let us start the presentation. So tire is a rubber member which gives the cushion to the automobile. This everyone knows it. Then it consists of outer cover, that is tire proper and tube inside. There are two types of tires which are used in vehicle. One is tires with tube, the other one is tires without tube. Okay, so tire tube assembly is mounted over the wheel rim, and air inside the tube carries entire load and provides the cushion. So what it says, it is saying that the air inside the tire is taking all the load. Air being a compressible fluid, so it is going to take the complete load of whatever the road shocks and the passenger weight is there and the vehicle weight is there. So basic function is to support the vehicle load, to provide a cushion against the shock, to transmit driving and braking forces to the road. Then tires grip the road to provide good traction. This enables the vehicle to accelerate, brake, and make turns without skidding, thus provide smooth steering of vehicle. Please understand that though you design the steering system very perfectly, we have seen that only steering system will not be sufficient for us to give the directional stability. The other components of the vehicle, they are important, and in that series we have seen the wheel alignment was the other aspect of the vehicle. Before that we have seen the vehicle defects were there, so we need to remove the vehicle defects. After removal of the vehicle defects, we have to concentrate on the wheel alignment, and now after wheel alignment you got to concentrate on the tire, because the tires, they are having wide variety. You need to choose which kind of tires are suitable for particular vehicle, how the tires are designated, how the tires are manufactured. So all these aspects we are going to study in this particular topic, that is automotive tires. So it says that without a tire, so it is used to accelerate, brake, and make turns without skidding, thus provide smooth steering of the vehicle. So these factors, they are important thing as far as the tires are concerned. Okay, all of you might be aware that the story of the discovery of the tire. Are you aware of that? Sir, do you know the story of the discovery of the tire which we are using nowadays, modern tires? So who has made the use of tire possible in all the weather conditions? Do you know, sir? Please, yeah, Goodyear. So Goodyear was a person who made the tires of today's era. Let me share in just 5 minutes the short story, how accidentally the tires which we are using got, you can say, discovered. Okay. And basically, Goodyear was a person who was staying in the New York City, and previously, what used to happen? People made the tire from the rubber, and during summer days the tire used to get more elastic, and riding the vehicle was very, very difficult because the tire were not maintaining their elasticity. And somehow the US government, they declared that whosoever will make the tire which will last in all the season, he will be given due reward and all those things. Okay, so this person Goodyear, he started experimenting on the rubbers or various types of rubbers to make that all-weather proof tires. And even people used to call him as the rubber man because if you ask anyone where that person Goodyear stays in the New York City, so people used to say that that rubber man stays at this and this location. And in doing the experimentation for discovery of the all-weather tire, he has sold almost everything of his household, and his wife used to quarrel him for quite often. And one fine day, on the similar such a situation, his wife and he had a very big quarrel, and then his wife took one bottle and उसको उसने फेंक के मार दिया वो बॉटल. Okay, she was not knowing that what is that chemical, and her aim was that that bottle should hit him so hard, and she was very angry with Goodyear because he was not doing anything without that means he was totally devoted to the discovery of the tire. And that is how the there were a lot of family problems because of that tire. Okay, so accidentally she threw one bottle at him, and he somehow missed it, and that bottle got into one solution which was boiling on some stove. Okay, and then she left the house. Then Goodyear also went after her, and he tried to request her that not to leave the home and all those things. And by the time everything cooled down, he came back and he saw that the pot in the vessel in which that rubber was boiling, it poured out of the vessel, and somehow that gas stove got extinguished. And then after some time, he noticed that the rubber has become harder. Then he tried to heat it, but it couldn't come back to its original elastic. Sorry, it was not becoming that much elastic which it used to previously. Okay, so then he found out that what was that bottle which she threw at him, was what chemical it was there in that particular bottle. And somehow he came to know that it was a sulfur which was there in that bottle. And if you add sulfur to the you can say the boiling rubber, then you get, and if you cool down that rubber, then you get the rubber properties change, and rubber becomes hard. And even after heating that, there is hardly any change in the elasticity or plasticity of the rubber. And that is how then he experimented on that, and he discovered that if you add sulfur to the rubber, then you can able to make tire out of that rubber, which will be all weather proof. And that is how the he patented that. The US government has given him the award, and the tires which we are using is basically the gift which is given by the Goodyear. And now you might have seen that there is one company named after him, the Goodyear tires. Okay, so this is basically a short story. This is given in the science discovery book of school children, or school book. Okay, so this is how the tires were discovered. So some of the things which were discovered accidentally, so they have got some kind of you can say coincidence of having the discovery. So please note that the tires, they become hard because you got to have a sulfur, and sulfur reacts with the rubber, and you get the tire which is all weather proof. So that is the short story. Now coming back to tires, what are the parts of the tire? So if you see these figures, you will find that the treads are the outermost part of the tire. What it says, the outermost part which you see, that there is some kind of pattern which is made on the outer periphery of the tire, that is called as the tread. So thicker top rubber portion of tire in contact with road. So these treads, they are in contact with the road. Depth of cut varies from 8 millimeter to 14 millimeter. They are 8 to 14 millimeter deep. Trade patterns vary depending upon the intended use. So if you see that the off-road vehicles, for example, tractor tire, the tractor tire, they are having very less trade compared to your automotive passenger vehicle tire. And does that, what is the significance of the trades? Can anyone tell me? What do you feel that the trades might be doing in the tire? So trade is this outer portion of the tire. Sir, आपने if you see the tire outer portion of the tire of your vehicle, you will find that there is a typical pattern which is engraved on that particular thing. So what might be the purpose? Better traction. Okay, usually that is given to shear off the water if it is lying on the road. Okay, and then other advantages the tire manufacturing company they claim, that's the added advantage. They say that the better traction and all those things. But please remember that the traction comes from friction. If there is more friction, the more amount of force will be required. As a result, the fuel economy will go down. So we need to be very careful when we discuss this. Okay. Now casing. Casing is made up of layers of cords impregnated with rubber. The number of layers of cord varies according to use of tire. Motor car usually have 4 to 6 plies, whereas heavy duty trucks and tires may have 22 plies. So that is basically the casing. Here you might have seen. तो यहाँ तो केसिंग ने ये जो ये पूरा पार्ट है, ये पूरा टायर केसिंग, ये अंदर वाला पार्ट, और इसके ऊपर क्या है, केसिंग इज मेड अप ऑफ द लेयर्स ऑफ कॉर्ड्स इम्प्रेग्नेटेड विद द रबर. सो ये जो है, ये इनर पोर्शन वाला जो दिख रहा है, ये पूरा टायर का केसिंग है अंदर वाला. ठीक है. नाउ साइड वॉल. The side walls are rubber compound and act as a protective layer of casing. So ये जो ये side wall है, ये casing का protection करके act होता है. Yeah, you might have seen that there is some number which is written on the side wall of the tire. If you have not seen, please have a look at the automotive tires, and you can make out that there is some number which is embossed on this particular or printed on the side wall of the tire. So what does that number signify? Okay. Anybody is having any idea as to what is the significance of that number? Sir, any idea as to what that number means? Let me read. Radius of wheel. Okay. Any other? Sir, whenever have you by chance have gone to any tire shop or a tire dealer who is selling the tire? If you go there, the first thing they will not look at the vehicle, whereas the first thing they will always see what is the condition of the tire, and the छोटू of that particular shop will come and will say कि यार ये R15 का दे दे टायर, इसको R16 का चाहिए, R18 का चाहिए, रेडियल चाहिए, बायस चाहिए. See, the number there signifies the wheel radius, as rightly pointed out, which is given in the inches, and there are some letters which are printed on that. We are going to see what is the meaning of those particular letters. So those will be the significance of that number is basically it gives the metric designation of the tire, which is accepted worldwide, and it is decided by SAE, the metric designation of the tire. So we will see what each and every letter in that particular you can say tire number means in the side wall. Then coming to the beads. So beads, this is the portion of the bead. The bead is basically a metal wire which is in contact of the wheel rim, which is in contact with the wheel rim. So this represents the coil of wires. It says that it represents, this is the metal part. These wires are of high tensile steel, uh, high tensile steel, which are built in edges of the tire in order to give strong edges to press against the inner edge of the rim. So whenever you go to change the tire or to have the repairing of the puncture which is happened in the tire, then in that case for two-wheeler, you might have seen that that particular fellow whosoever is repairing the puncture, he will put one spanner into that or screwdriver type of thing which he will put, and then he will remove that thing. That is not the correct procedure for the removal of the tire from the wheel rim, because it will damage the bead, and once the bead portion is exposed, then the rusting of that particular wire will start. From that, it will rust, it will be in contact with the wheel rim which is made up of the metal, so that wheel rim will also start you can say rusting. That is one thing. Second thing, whenever you go for the repairing of the or the for puncture, please do not allow the puncture repairer person or that shop person to put some oil at the rim, so that he will say that कि sir वो rust मैं कम कर दूंगा, ये oil डालना चाहिए so that वो tire थोड़ा सा स्मूथ होगा या थोड़ा सा ये होगा सॉफ्ट होगा, but that is not the right way. Putting oil is not recommended for removing of the tire from the wheel rim, because the rubber and the oil, they are enemy. So if you put the oil over the rubber, the oil will eat out the rubber. So never make that particular combination, that rubber and oil, they should not be put together, otherwise the tire life will get adversely affected and tire will start deteriorating at that particular location. Therefore, for rubber hoses also, it is recommended not to use the oil for fitment of the rubber hose on onto the ports. Okay, so better to use water rather than using oil. So if he is putting water, don't say anything, but if he is putting oil, please be careful that putting oil on the rubber part is not advisable. Okay, so now going to the next thing, the parts of the tire. This shows you clear cut the what are the things. Plies, rubberized fabric reinforced by parts of nylon, rayon, polyester or fiberglass. The piles are referred to as a carcass. So this is the carcass of the uh, plies. Okay, so these are the, you can say, rubberized fabric which are put one over the another, and that is called as carcass. Basically this is the arrangement of these carcass will make the different types of tires that we are going to see. So here they are saying that bead wires, then the carcass which is after the casing, and the inner liner, that can be also called as casing. So this is basically the cross section of the tire. This figure gives you the complete idea. Okay, then bead we have seen the lower portion of portion on both the sides has a set of steel wires called bead wires. Breaker are rubber covered cords similar to plies. The job of breaker is to distribute the road shock and prevent separation of tread from the tire. That means these are the breakers which are shown here. What is it? They are similar to the plies. Okay, they are similar to plies. Their job of breaker is to distribute a road shock and prevent a separation of the tread from the tire. Tread is basically the outer part of the tire. Okay, so अगर आप evenly shock distribute करते हैं, तो ये जो इम्पैक्ट, ये जो ट्रेड जो रहता है which is pasted on these particular breakers, so it will not allow the movement of the, sorry, taking out of the thread. Now you might be aware that have you seen the small scale industry or somewhere written that the tire trading industry करके सुना है क्या सर आपने? Have you heard that? मोस्टली ये जैसे टाउन प्लेस या छोटे डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्लेस में भी होती है दिस काइंड्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्री, एंड इट इज एवरीवेयर. सो हैव यू सीन दैट बाय चांस? Have you read such kind of board of the industry, that the tire trading industry करके? Sir, आपने सुना है क्या? Either you say yes, no, so that I will able to tell you the reference. Okay. So you have not heard or you have not read, then in that case, let me make you aware that, see, when you go for a fitment of the new tire, that means suppose you use the vehicle and there is some problem with the tire treads have completely worn out, then then the service people of the vehicle, they advise you that कि sir आप tire बदल लो गाड़ी के. Okay, so what you do, you go to the tire dealer and then you buy the tire. So what he says, sir मैं पुराने टायर ले लूंगा और आपको every टायर हर एक पुराने टायर का I'll give you 100 rupees. Okay, I will minus that 100 rupees because anyway, if you change the 4 tires of your vehicle, then what you are going to do with the old tires? So you don't have any purpose of doing anything apart from putting some you can say soil into it and grow the plants, but that is nowadays out of fashion. So you said that कि मुझे तो कोई काम नहीं है वो टायर का, so you can take that and for 4 tires he will subtract 400 rupees from the total tire cost, and you are happy, he is also happy. So why he is paying you 100 rupees for the old tire? See, there is a very big business of it. So they will buy that. He will send those old tires to the tire retrading industry. That is called as the tire retrading industry, where what they will do, the retrading people, they will take out the top layer of trades from the tire and they will paste another layer of the fresh trade on this outer surface, and that is how those tires are available. Now you have got the used tire which is again refurbished and it is available. Nowadays you might have heard that most of the laptops people use, they are refurbished laptop and they give the equal service as your new laptop. On the similar lines, the tire trades, you can retrade it. That means you fit the you remove the old one and fit the new one, and you say that it is the retraded tire. And most of the vehicles which are used for the commercial purposes, for example taxi vehicle or the truck vehicle, then they buy the retraded tires because their cost is comparatively less with if you buy the retraded tire, and their use is very high. So from commercial point of view, they use these tires, and that is how the tire recycling is done, and it is a great help to the environment. Otherwise, dumping all these tires and you can say disposing of these tires is a very big problem. So most of the truck owners or those people who are in transportation business, they go for such kind of tires, and that is how they can afford that. Otherwise, changing tires after every, let us say, 20,000 kilometers or 50,000 kilometers is a big cost burden on the business. So that is how the tire retrading industry is there, and most of the time these tire retrading industries they are situated at the entry of any of these cities. So you might read some board wherein it is written that as a tire retrading industry. So they retrade, they collect the old tires and retrade it and sell it to the you can say these people. Okay, even you can buy that, provided you should know where they are getting such kind of tires. Okay, so next time if you happen to see that particular board, then remind this that this is the business. Okay, and you also, if you want, you can also start that. If you are interested in transportation business, a lot of people do it, it's not a big deal. Okay, now this is the slide which tells you regarding the coefficient of friction. Just read that. This is only for your information. So tire grip or friction. So tire grip or road grip or friction is a property which resists sliding of tire over the road surface due to retardation force generated at the tire to ground contact area. And this is basically the graph. The more theory on this particular aspect is available on the in the book Vehicle Engineering by Hens and Hessler, the book which I suggested you. So now that book is out of print, so you can download the e-copy from whatever source you know. You are clever than me. I do not have the e-copy. If you get the e-copy, you please share it with me. I have got the hard copy of that particular book. Okay, so there the good discussion on the coefficient of friction and coefficient of friction is given in the chapter on the tires. Okay, just read this because this is a very scientific theory. The coefficient of friction mu does not take into account, please understand, take into account the surface area trade pattern which maximizes the interlocking mechanism between the flexible trade elements and the road. That means the coefficient of friction doesn't say anything about the surfaces in contact. Hence, while dealing with tires, it is usual to refer to as coefficient of adhesive friction. So this is the important aspect, is saying that coefficient of adhesive friction. The maximum coefficient of adhesive friction created between the sliding trade block and a solid surface occurs under conditions of slow movement or creep. That means when there is the very the relative velocity between the two surfaces is very less, then it's called as creep or slow movement. This critical stage is known as a peak coefficient, which is shown here. This is the peak coefficient. Okay, so peak coefficient, if the relative movement increases, the coefficient of friction continues to fall until bodily sliding occurs, and this stage is known as the sliding friction. So this is shown as the sliding friction. So let me tell you that depending upon the tire trade, you will find that there are experiments or there are logic which says that if you have more traded tires, that means if the tire trading is high and you have got the bald tire means the trades are absent, so you will find that they give very good you can say grip on the wet surface. Okay, so please note that this is very important, that you will able to drive the vehicle fitted with bald tires in much better way than compared to the vehicle with the tire having treads. So this discussion is given in the that particular book, so please refer those who are interested in that. We are not much interested in this particular friction aspect, but there are certain theory or theory slides which I included. So Bowden and Tabor developed the theory of adhesive friction. So you can read this particular slide if you are interested in. I am going to share this presentation with you. Okay. Now moving further, uh, basically you can say that from the tires point of view, there are two types of tires. One is tire with tube, the other one is tire without tube or tubeless tire. Tire casing for tube and tubeless tire are made in the same way. All tires do not have the same shape or profile. Now here comes the question, which tire is good? Tire with tube is good or tire without tube is good? What is your opinion, sir? Please share. Nowadays, tire without tube is basically the feature which people say that our vehicle is having. The manufacturers, they say specifically for two-wheeler, we are using the tubeless tire. So which one is good? What is your opinion? Sir, please let me know what is your opinion regarding the use of tire with tube is good or tire without tube is good, or tubeless tire which we call it. Sir, क्या हुआ? What happened, sir? Acha, tubeless is good. Sir, why it should be good? Means just I just wanted to know your logic. Everyone is saying a lesser chance of damage. Okay, punctures are avoided. Okay, sir, how can you avoid the punctures? Because tires, they are made up of the same material. So the for tube for tires with tube, anyway the nail has to pierce the tire surface and then it will enter the into the tire and then it will puncture. Whereas how we can avoid the punctures? Ameya, whatever you are saying, how can you justify that punctures are avoided? How to justify your statement? It is partially true, it is not fully true. Can you justify? Sir, Sravya is saying lesser chance of damage. I don't agree. How we can say that it is going to have lesser chance of damage? As far as the manufacturing is concerned, both are same, almost the same. There's hardly any issue with them. Okay, suppose this is first question. I will answer your question. Don't worry. Now, from another point of view, another thing, another aspect of it, can you fit? Can you fit? Please listen this question carefully. Can you fit the tires tire with tube on the wheel rim, which is made for tire without tube? Have you got the question? The question is, now you have the vehicle with tubeless tire. Now you go, suppose it got damaged. So can you fit the tire with tube on the wheel rim of tire without tube? Or vice versa? सर क्वेश्चन समझ में आया क्या? आई विल आंसर पंक्चर्स आर अवॉइडेड, वो उसका मैं आंसर दूंगा. ये मेरे दूसरे क्वेश्चन का भी आप आंसर दे दीजिए, सो दैट कि अगर ये दूसरे क्वेश्चन का अगर आपने आंसर दिया तो पहले का जो है वो आपको आंसर मिल जाएगा, अमेय का जो है. सर प्लीज कमेंट ऑन दिस वॉट एवर क्वेश्चन आई हैव आस्क्ड यू, because there is nothing which is technical in that. Sir, please understand that if you go for the interview of a tire company, they are going to ask such kind of questions to you. They come from your observation, day-to-day experience. In case of a puncture, it is easier to mend the tubeless tire. Okay, small punctures do not affect the performance of tubeless tire. Okay, the answer to my question is yes, yes, yes. बोला है, very correct. Since air will take the load in tube tires, in tubeless tire, there wouldn't be sudden impact on rim. Okay. Self-sealing cause air to leak at very slow rate. Okay. So now the answer to the question which I told you is correct, that if you have the wheel, previously it was fitted with the tubeless tire, then you can very well fit the tire with the tube. Whereas the for other case, that means if you want to fit the tubeless tire on a wheel rim which is made up of the tire with tube, then you have to make sure that the tubeless tire should fit on the rim perfectly, so that there will be a sealing which has to be taken place. If you see this clearly, that this is basically the sealing. This is the tube which is fitted, and here the this is tubeless tire. You got to have the complete profile which is sealed, otherwise there will be a leakage. Okay, so fitting of the tire with tube on the tubeless wheel rim, that is possible, but the other way around you have to be very cautious, because there can be leakage of the air through the side wall. That is the answer to the question which I asked you. On the similar lines, when you said that the Tubeless tire will have less puncture. It is not the thing. It is not the correct thing. Basically, if the nail comes out from the tubeless tire, then that is going to cause the sudden failure of the tire. That means you will not able to drive the vehicle even for 1 kilometer if the particular object which is piercing the tire is staying there. Then in that case, you can drive the vehicle for some kilometers because the air leakage rate will be less because that particular piercing material is staying there. Whereas if it comes out of that, they it will be the same case as the tire with tube. Okay, so that is why I said that it is the half truth. So in my opinion, one should go for tire with tubes rather than going for the tubeless tire, because the puncture repair is not that simple. That means by chance if it gets punctured, then you can repair it, you can fit the stepney, but repairing is slightly difficult in the tubeless tire because you have to take that piercing tool, put the rubber into it, and then pierce it into the tire and then take out and make it a seal. So that's a cold puncture basically. Whereas here you can have the hot puncture. Here in this case, tire with tube, the cost involved is not that much. You can take out the tube and throw it away, and you can have the new tubes fitted into it, and again you can drive the vehicle. Whereas in case of the tubeless tire, you don't have that option. If there are more than 2 or 3 punctures, then there are chances that the previous punctures may get leaked. Okay, so in my opinion, if you ask, I'll go for the tire with tubes. Okay, because there are hardly any fitment issues. There are, if by chance the wheel rim gets damaged, then also you can drive the vehicle and there no need to change the wheel rim. Whereas in tubeless tire, the problems are there. Again, the tubeless tire, they are costly, whereas the tires with tube, they are not that costly. Okay, so these are the some of the positive and negative points. But again, the comparison is you can say very means it's a very close tie-up between these two tires. So and now it is the choice. But nowadays people say that most of the two-wheeler manufacturers, they say that the vehicle is fitted with the tubeless tire. That means even after puncture you can drive it for 5 to 10 kilometers, and specifically that is good for the ladies because they cannot change the tire. So they say that for ladies, if some uh, lady is using the vehicle, then in that case she will not have to face the trouble. She can easily go to the repairer shop by driving the vehicle rather than pulling the vehicle. Okay, so that is the case. So that is basically half truth. So coming to next, now how the tires they are, you can say what are the different types of the geometric parameters which are involved with the tire. The first one is the aspect ratio. What it says, aspect ratio is a tire section width divided by tire section height. So this is the tire section width. सर ये एस्पेक्ट रेशियो के ऊपर बहुत सारी चीजें डिपेंड है कि कौन से टाइप का आपको टायर चाहिए, उसका एस्पेक्ट रेशियो क्या है। अरे यार ये गायब हो गया। सो दिस इज द सेक्शन विड्थ, टायर सेक्शन विड्थ, टायर सेक्शन विड्थ divided by tire section height. So this is the section height of the tire. If you take that particular ratio, then it is called an aspect ratio. Generally, there are 3 aspect ratios: 80, 70, and 60. Okay, a series 60 tire. What do you mean by this? 60 is tire is only 60% as high as its width. That means width के 60% उसका height है, 60% में, 70% में and 80% में उसके respective percentage होंगे. So this is, so now this is the cross section of the tire. This figure we should draw by our own hand. So please make the practice of drawing this particular figure, because this sketch is very important to draw if you are discussing the tire. So it is a wheel. This is the rim. This is the rim part, and on this rim, this black color part is basically the tire. So black color part is the tire. This part is basically the tire treads. Please remember that these parts are basically tire treads, and there is some protrusion on the tire surface where you check the tire linear and radial runout. Okay, this is the tire which is in contact with the road. That is why it has bulged little bit compared to tire which is on the top. And this is the wheel diameter. So this is the nominal rim diameter, overall diameter, and other dimensions are shown here. There are two types of radius which are to be used in the tire convention. One is the free radius, the other one is the rolling radius. So where to use the free radius, where to use other rolling radius. As such, a free radius has got no technical significance as far as the calculations are concerned. But yes, rolling radius has got the typical significance of when we are doing certain calculations. So this is basically the tire section divided by tire section height. So that is called as the aspect ratio. Now what is next? Now tire construction. So please understand this. What is the tire construction? So tire construction, tire casing for tube and tubeless tires are made in the same way. That means as far as manufacturing is concerned, there is no difference. Layers of cord or plies are shaped on the form and impregnated with the rubber. Okay, तो ये सर एक फॉर्म रहता है. I will show you the complete video as to how the tires are manufactured. I've got the video, but in brief it is going to give you the description how the tires are manufactured. I have included this portion because we want that what is the difference between tube and tubeless tires. So there is no difference as far as manufacturing is concerned. Layers of cords or plies are shaped in on the form. Form means basically which kind of tire you want. That initial shape is there, so you just have to impregnate it with the plies or the cords which are impregnated with the rubber. That means rubber coated plies have to be laid over this particular form. The tire side walls and treads are then applied. So इसके ऊपर अगर आपने ये plies का पूरा, if you put it the plies, then impregnate it with the rubber, then you attach the side walls and treads on that, and the total assembly you heat it under pressure, and that is called as the vulcanization. So vulcanization of the rubber you might have studied in the chemistry. So it is means heat the rubber under pressure, and this molds the tire into a desired form. So then the tire takes the desired form. So now it says that how much plies you have to apply for passenger car. These are general, you can say, the figures. The actual figures may vary depending upon the manufacturer. Nowadays you hear so many types of tires, that Sigma tires, steel radials and whatnot, and there are a lot of advertisements which are going on in the TV. They say that this tires will wear very slow, and if you apply the brake it will instantly stop, and all those things are there. So that is basically the advertising gimmick of the tire. But these are the numbers. You can see that passenger cars may have 2 plies, 4 plies or 6 plies. So that doesn't mean anything. We will see what are the problems with the increase in number of the plies. But as the load increases, you will have to increase the number of plies. But there are certain disadvantages with the plies that we are going to see. As you increase the number of plies, the hardness of the tire is probably getting affected. Okay, as a result, you may not get a smooth ride. So there are certain aspects to it. So there have to be certain limitations as well. Certain limitations when you choose the number of plies. Then the tires of earth moving machinery can go up to 32 plies. So BEML is the Bharat heavy earth moving machinery, or Bharat uh, earth moving machinery, BEML. So BEML is the government company which manufactures the off-road vehicles or earth moving machinery vehicles, which are to be used for the defense application, and which are used for the off-road applications. Okay. So there you will find that different types of tires which have to be used because the terrain is different. So there you may have to carry not much load, and that is why the number of plies are more. So today with this we'll stop here. If you have any questions, please do ask. In the next class, we